We will go ahead and call this meeting to order. Today is the August 9th, 2022 meeting of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board here at the Laughlin Regional Government Center. Some notes for housekeeping. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The board may combine two or more agenda items for consideration. The board may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to any item at any time. No action may be taken on any matter not listed on today's posted agenda. All planning zoning matters heard at this meeting are forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners Zoning Commission, known as the BCC, or the Clark County Planning Commission, known as the PC, for final action. Please take a moment to turn off all and mute all cell phones and other electronic devices, and please take all private conversations outside of the room. Within a 48-hour advance request, a sign language interpreter or other reasonable efforts to assist and accommodate persons with physical disabilities may be made available by calling 702-455-3530, TDD at 702-385-7486, or Relay Nevada toll-free at 800-326-6868. Supporting material provided to the board members for this meeting may be requested from our secretary, Tammy Harris, at 702-298-0828, and supporting material is or will be available at the Clark County Department of Administrative Services, 500 South Grand Central Parkway, 6th floor, Las Vegas, Nevada. Supporting material is also available at the county's website, clarkcountynv.gav/LaughlinTAB. Your board before you today, I'll go ahead and take a roll call. Pamela Walker.
Present.
Present. Herm Walker, no relation.
Present.
Present. Fred Doughton.
Here.
Present. Kathleen Haas, Vice Chair.
Here.
Present. And Kathy Oakes, your Chair. We have all members present today. We do have a quorum. Our secretary before us is Tammy Harris, and she can be reached at 702-298-0828. Her email address is Tammy, TAMMY.Harris, HARRIS, at clarkcountynv.gov. Also with us today is Mark Moskowitz, our county liaison, and he can be reached again at 702-298-0828, and also at 702-455-6173. His email is mark.moskowitz, MOSKOWITZ, at clarkcountynv.gov. This has been our call to order. If I can please have you stand for our Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Vice Chair, Kathleen Haas.
Please salute our flag and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who am I? No more energy drinks. Okay. It's got to be it. Okay. So we've also had our roll call. I now will open the meeting to the public comment section of today. This is a period devoted to comments by the general public about items on today's agenda. No discussion, action, or vote may be taken on the agenda item at this time. You'll be afforded an additional opportunity to speak on the individual public hearing items at the time they are presented. If you wish to speak to the board about items within its jurisdiction but not on today's agenda, you must wait until the comments by general public period listed at the end of today's agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to the speaker's podium here. State your name and address, and please spell your name for the record. We are recorded, but it makes it easier for minutes for our secretary if you spell your name. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of presentation, it'll be done by the chair or the board by majority vote. Is there anyone that would like to speak, public comment on items of today's agenda? Okay, all right. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and move forward. I'm going to combine two items here. The approval of the minutes for the July 12th, 2022 meeting and approval of today's agenda, August 9th, 2022, to hold, combine, or delete any items. Is there any discussion amongst the board?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second as written. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Moving forward now to informational items, we'll begin today with receiving a report and updates from South County Liaison Mark Moskowitz.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair. Just a quick update. The August 2022 Commissioner NAF newsletter is available in the back. Also, let us know if you'd like to be added to the mailing list to get electronically. Also, I just want to do a friendly reminder, school's back in session, so please be aware on the roads. School started yesterday, so kids are back. Make sure you're following all the rules and going slow. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay. Move forward to receive an awards presentation from Laughlin Rotary to honor first responder for their dedication and contributions to the Laughlin community. Our Rotary, please.
I'm Jackie Wallen, and this is Renee. She works for Metro. I am the Laughlin Chambers president and CEO, but we both are in the Laughlin Rotary Club, of which we have, 12 now? About 12 members, and we're getting bigger and we're doing fun things. Right now, we want to acknowledge somebody in our town that is going to be the recipient of our first responders of the quarter, and this is quarter 3, 2022. Officer Troy Nichols, would you please join us? We recognize some of our best people in Laughlin every quarter, and then we recognize our students in the high school every month when they're in school. Officer Troy Nickel, P774, hired on with, I should put my glasses on. Right now I'm stuttering. On with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department on August 19th, 2002. His work territories have included Bolden Area Command, Northern Area Command, and in 2015, Laughlin Residence Section. He and his family immediately became a part of this community and have been a large supporter of the area. Sharing his free time volunteering at community events such as preparing and delivering Thanksgiving turkey food baskets, Christmas food baskets, National Night Out, and Shop with a Cop. His heavy involvement in the community goes beyond group settings to a personal level. For instance, on one occasion, a homeowner who had a seeing disability had a water leak occur. Officer Nichols rebuilt that ceiling. Officer Nichols has a strong sense of duty to influence the youth, dedicating part of his on-duty time to Bennett and Laughlin High School. Officer Nichols has received 2 medals. The first was in 2012 for community service, a medal for coaching in the Special Olympics, for which he served 13 years. The second came about in 2014 when Officer Nichols was involved in a major accident where he coordinated officers to a location of 2 active shooters who had just killed 2 police officers. This incident was known at the LVMPD as the Soldo and Beck incident. Is that right? Soldo? Okay. For his speedy, steadfast response, he was presented the 2015 Medal of Valor. He also received Top Cop of the Nation ribbon for his part in the incident. Officer Nichols is a very dedicated man to his work, his wife, Shen, of 29 years, his family, and his community. We are deeply honored to present him with a token of our affection and gratitude with this award. Congratulations. You know what I'm talking about?
Stoic, no words. And I'd also like to add, being prior law enforcement, from our lieutenant, our sergeant, and for you as well, it makes a big difference in the community that we live in. The quality of our officers, I've always been very grateful in Laughlin. One of the major decisions I made when I moved here was the crime content, how progressive our officers are. And it's greatly appreciated by those of us that live in this community and have far less crime and less incidents than they do just across the river. So it's commendable to all of you for the work that you do in keeping our community safe. Thank you. Okay. And then we're going to receive a report from Lieutenant Rogers with Metro Police regarding activity and statistics during the past month and other area crime concerns. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Rogers with Metro, Laughlin Commander here. Just go quickly over our stats and any events that we had in the last month. So for calls for service for Laughlin, for the month of July, we had 364, which is only about a 1% raise from last year, where we had 358. As far as traffic citations, we wrote 354. We made 4 arrests for DUI, 8 arrests for domestic violence, and our Tucker holding facility took in 26 inmates during the month of July. Significant events, we did have the rockets over the river in July, which was a good event. No real major issues. So we're happy that that turned out really well. The town was very busy, so everyone had a good time and enjoyed that. We've had a couple of our Coffee with a Cop events. We have another one coming up in 2 weeks. And last week we did our kind of back to school fair, which we had snow cones and backpacks for the kids. And then tomorrow we'll be at Bennett Elementary also passing out school supplies to kids that couldn't come to the fair that we did. So that's kind of what we have coming up as far as current events. All those are on our social media, either Facebook, Instagram, just for any kind of updates on times or events of community events that we're doing in the future. So that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I just want to
Mark?
thank the lieutenant for inviting me to the back to school event at the library. It was a good event, lots of participation in the community, so it was a great job. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. And receive a report from Sergeant, I didn't see him, Sergeant Wayne Dice, Nevada State Police. Okay, he's not with us today. Receive a report from Clark County Fire Department regarding calls for service during the past month and other fire prevention issues. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be with you. Brian O'Neill, Assistant Fire Chief for the Clark County Fire Department's Rural Division. I'm going to start off with the call volume report. I'll go to July 2022. I believe you have this report in front of you, and there's some more on the back table if anybody wants to take one of those. Engine 76 ran a total of 74 calls for a 30% increase from July 2021 to the current year, 2022. Rescue 76, 135 calls, 16% increase. Truck 76 ran 1 call, and you'll see that there's a 89% decrease in the call volume there. And the watercraft did not go out. Station 85 ran 122 calls, a 12% increase, and the watercraft did go out 1 time. Year-to-date responses for Engine 76 is up 107% at 439 calls year-to-date. Rescue 76, 791 calls for an increase of 9%. And Truck 76 ran 9 calls year-to-date for a negative 95%. Engine 85 ran 774 calls year-to-date for an 18% increase, and the watercraft has gone out 1 time. So just to address the truck, I'd like to give you an update on that. The truck that has been down here was an old frontline unit from in town that was previously Truck 18 at our headquarters station at Station 18. That's a 100-foot platform, dual axle, the biggest truck that we have on the fire department. And it's just a vehicle that's not well equipped to serve in this area between the hills, the heat, and the response limitations of the construction features in some of the communities and apartment complexes. That truck has spent a lot of out-of-service time, and so you'll see that it hasn't run a bunch of calls, and it's been underutilized. So this week we're going to be switching out that vehicle to a 75-foot stick, single rear axle, a lighter duty ladder, but more maneuverable and better able to access some of the apartment buildings in the area. That's going to be, again, an older frontline unit from Station 22 in our Spring Valley area. And so that vehicle will be coming down here, and that one should be better equipped to handle the types of calls that it's going to be asked to respond to here in Laughlin. Okay, moving on, I'd like to direct your attention over to the blue flyer that you have there, the Support a Resilient Community. This is Clark County's multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. This is a plan that's updated every 5 years, and it's time to update that plan now, so we're asking for community input on the risks that you see that face you as an individual and that Clark County can better prepare for. So we're going to be taking your responses through a survey that can be accessed through the QR code that's listed there. Over the next few weeks, the survey closes August 31st, so we have the rest of the month to solicit responses. And this survey will help guide us in our decision-making and prioritization of the funds that we spend and the effort that we do to prepare the community to face the hazards that they have. As the Rural Division Chief, I want to keep rural Nevada green and alert you to the potential for wildfire that we have in our community. I've left some wildfire prevention material on the back table, but just know that wildfire has been a consistent and persistent threat and continues to increase as we have climate adaptive incidents, and it's not an area that has been just in Laughlin or just in other parts of the county. It affects everyone. In 2019, there were 2 fairly large fires here in Laughlin that you may be familiar with. The wet fire burned 5 acres right down along the Big Bend area, and the Big Bend fire just a few months after burned 239 acres. Part of that Clark County, part of that Park Service and BLM property. So that's an area that Laughlin can see as a risk to its community, and as we continue to solicit those responses, we'll be able to continue to prioritize wildfire risk. And then third, I wanted to update you on a county capital project. So this is not a project that has come from the Laughlin community capital budget, but from Clark County in general. Again, we're trying to increase our preparedness for incidents that we may face, some of those being on the water. And so we have purchased a boat and jet skis to enhance our ability to respond to emergencies on the Colorado River. And so those are moving through the purchasing process, and those should be finding their way down here. Probably, I don't want to put a timeline on it, but as next year continues on, we'll be conducting training and rolling out those pieces of equipment to the firefighters that are here at Station 76 and Station 85.
76 and 85.
Yes. So 2 jet skis and a boat. I believe that they'll be better able to handle calls on the river as they don't have the outboard motor that the boat currently has, and they're able to better navigate in low water conditions, which has been one of the real problems that we've had here in the past. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Were you aware, perhaps Mark, you can help me with this, the date of, I think we have a meeting on the 27th regarding water safety?
So
Is it the 27th? I'm just trying to look at my,
the 19th.
the
Is
19th.
the Colorado River.
Colorado River Safety Task Force at the
Yep.
Bullhead City Council.
And I believe Clark County Fire will be there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if he might consider that.
Yes. I believe.
Because the addition, what you're saying, it has been of concern. We have a task force now, and we've been working with vendors with jet skis and injuries, fatalities that we've had throughout the years. And we've been, putting this on the forefront. But one of the things that the addition of 2 jet skis and a boat being manned by Clark County, I think would be something, obviously that's progress from the Nevada side, and we would like them, to be aware of that as well. So a representation from your department for that would be excellent.
Absolutely, yeah. I haven't seen that specifically, but I'll look for those emails.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, if we could forward that.
Yeah, I believe the Clark County Fire Department was on the invite, and I echo everything you're saying with us taking strides to do everything we can within our jurisdiction. I know it's a state jurisdiction, but there are ways that we're able to help, and we're finding every way possible, so.
Right. Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions? Okay. All right. So receive a report with Will Smith with Clark County Water Reclamation District regarding the status of our wastewater system. Nope. Okay. Not with us today. And receive a report from Jason Bailey with Big Bend Water District regarding the status of the water system.
Hello, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jason Bailey with the Big Bend Water District. Our report for the month of July, total diversions were 331 acre feet. That is up from July of last year, but really on par with total diversions year to date from last year. Currently standing at 1,822 acre feet diverted from the river. The water system is in good shape. No major leaks or issues to report at this time. I did 2 months ago report on a situation we're working on in the Heritage Villas neighborhood, and I want to thank Ms. Walker for her help with that. Yeah, we actually we have had some movement, so we appreciate it. We started out with if you remember, there were some obstructions over the meters, and we needed to have that corrected. We started with 21 properties, and we're down to about 3 or 4, and so we're making some good headway there. Some good progress. That's my report. Happy to answer any questions.
I'm just curious about, we had some major improvements that were happening with the water district, and periodically you've given us reports on that. So we're at the end of third quarter or second quarter. Second quarter. So I'm just wondering if you have any updates on some of we had the rate increase that, was going to make for, improvements, and then you found some grants and stuff. So if you could just maybe give us an update on that next meeting.
Happy to do that. Yep.
Yeah, because the quarter should be well, versed at this point.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? No? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
And receive a report, I don't see her, from Alon Bilbray regarding Parks and Recreation, the status of programs and upcoming activities. I don't see her with us today, but the report is at the back of the room. And receive a report from Jackie Wallen with Laughlin Chamber of Commerce regarding current and upcoming business activities in Laughlin. And then additionally, she'll move forward to represent for the Laughlin Tourism Commission regarding current and upcoming events for them.
Hello. Good afternoon, board. I would like to start off my presentation by introducing Jeremy Keating. You can stand up and say hi. If you don't know him, Jeremy Keating is the director of Mojave County Airport's Laughlin Bullhead International Airport. He's the one that's working with us. He's one of the partners for the air show, April 1st, 2023. He claims that he doesn't know all of you very well, so I thought I'd bring him here and make sure that he was introduced. That's your Clark County, South County liaison. That's everybody's assistant, Tammy, and those are your, and that's your 4 board members, and we could introduce you in person later. But Jeremy's a great support. I also sit on the board of directors for the Mojave County Airport Authority, so we do work a lot together on everything, not just airport. I'll move forward to my July report. We have a mixer coming up tomorrow at noon at Drip Medic in Fort Mojave. Drip Medic is an infusion center where you can get IV infusions for anything that ails you or that you want to improve on, or you want to lose weight or get less fog or whatever you do. But they're a really good company, and they've been doing really good in our communities, actually doing home visits for people who are too sick. Our networking, breakfast, and educating period for the end of this month, which is August 6th, from 8:30 to 9:30, is Kayla Fuller. She's from Kindred Method Marketing and Graphics Assistance. She does small business assistance, so she has a great value in what she does for all of our small businesses, and she's going to be sharing what her services are like. Laughlin Chamber Events, Chef's Food Fest, of course, was postponed, but we're looking forward to June of 2023. The Tri-State Mega Mixer is scheduled for September 9th. I think that's wrong. I might have made that wrong. I think it's September 30th, but I'll look that up.
You'll let us know.
It is September 30th? Did you say that?
No, I said you'll let us know.
Yeah, I will. Community Achievement Awards has also been changed since I printed this, and it's November 5th. November 5th is out of October, which is not likely for Community Achievement Awards, but we are at the mercy of Aquarius since their pavilion holds the 600 sit-down for dinner seating that we need. And we think that we can pull it off this year with the amount of staffing that they have. The nomination deadlines for Community Achievement Awards, and I encourage everyone to nominate somebody special in your community that's done great by our students, by our law enforcement, by our government, anyone. There's Humanitarian Citizen of the Year. There's even a Young Wonder for those students under senior classmen that are doing great things in our community, especially for our elderly, and they should be recognized. That nomination deadline is the 22nd. I know in the paper it said the 15th, but you do have till the 22nd to get in your nominations. And they're real simple. You go to laughlinchamber.com, go to events, go to Community Achievement Awards, and this thing comes up that says, what category do you want to nominate for? And then you pick that and you pull it up, you fill in a little things. Your nomination doesn't have to be a paragraph that never ends. It only needs to say why you're nominating somebody, and we'll go after the person who's been nominated and ask them for the biographical data information for the judges. Membership is up to 307. Laughlin is up to 32%. New members since the quarter started in July is 1, but there are no new Laughlin members at this time. The volunteers in partnership are staying busy. They're still doing airport ambassador work. They are scheduled for Kid Rock October 8th to be the ticket scanners and the escorts. You have U.S. Open Bass Tournament, which is the one we won from Lake Mead. This is its 40th year, and we expect it to be full. Young people, we don't have to say young people, but young people are more important if they want to go out with a pro and really learn how to fish before they get too old and create bad habits. This is the time to go, because you can pay half of the registration fee as an amateur and go out with a real bass tournament on their boat and use their equipment and have a really good time. And you can get sponsors. So it might be around $800 for an amateur, because the cash pool is like up to $250,000, and then you get a bass boat on top of that. So there's all ways to win, including largest fish for your team. So there's a lot of opportunities for people if they can get in there while it's close. They don't have to worry about transportation or accommodations. I really encourage people around here to do that. Best in the Desert, Laughlin Desert Classic is in October. Snore follows, of course, in December. Best in the Desert again in February. And the Laughlin Bullhead Air Show is April 1st. They do all of the escorting, of course, like I said, for tickets at the LEC. The volunteer VIP donation requests are open and ready to be taken. The deadline is September 15th. If you don't remember, the volunteers collect money all year by parking cars, by selling water, by doing really odd jobs for nonprofits in the area. And 100% of the money that they raise, whether it's a tip or money for parking cars or whatever, they put into an account that I manage. And 100% of that every year gets donated back. Every year we've been able to donate $10,000 to various nonprofits in the tri-state to help them improve their services that they provide from their 501c. It's something they look forward to every year. If you have a request for a nonprofit, you just have to go online and fill out, I want money form. It just says form, donation form on the VIP tab, and fill it out. And they will start doing their assessments of everybody. COVID resource is about the same. You still have Laughlin Community Health Center, and you also have the bags that I brought some back there. They have all of the PPE and test kits that you need in them for your household. They will last a while, so stick them in the cupboard in case you need them, and don't go out to get your test kit, because then you infect everybody else. You should have them underneath your sink, and you can use them whenever you want. There's 4 in each bag, and the bags are valued at $44, and they're free to the public. You can pick them up here. You can pick them up at Laughlin Library, Renaissance Realty, or our chamber. And we've already been through the signs, and I think that we're good. Did anybody get to see the signs?
Yes.
So exciting.
I had to take puppies up for puppy shots, so on the way back, I got to see all of
It's
those.
exciting. I know, it's so easy to get me excited about the stupidest things.
Jackie, I was going to ask you on the, all of the events that you have with LTC and stuff that are on here, is there a possible way through the Laughlin Chamber website that you can click on these and download this into your calendar? Because I know what happens with me is there's an event coming up, but there's a lot of events. If there was a way that Val could create something where you click on it and then it adds it to your Google Calendar.
At the chamber website, you
Mm-hmm.
can go to the community calendar, and it has every single thing that's happening, no matter how small and no matter
Right.
how large.
But
I
can
don't-
you
don't
import
know.
those?
we
Maybe
have-
something to look at, because I know it would come in really handy for me.
Right, well, for me too, I have to
Yeah.
hand key them all in. But we'd have to look at Constant Contact and see if they have that interface ability.
Okay.
But we can check on that for sure.
I just thought it would be great,
I
and
mean,
maybe for board
everyone.
members for your chamber too, yeah.
Yeah. And if you didn't know, at the top of the LTC report, as I'll move into, we still have Kid Rock, who is sold out. I'm sure there are secondhand tickets that you can get, but Kid Rock is sold out. Toby Keith canceled because of his illness. Chris Young was put in to replace him, and then we've just added Brooks and Dunn this week.
Okay.
And that's all the way into April. We're still hoping to schedule a concert the same weekend as the air show, because that would make it a really complete destination package for some aviation enthusiasts. The U.S. Open Bass Tournament is scheduled for October 10th through 12th. You can volunteer for that, or you can go out and watch it. It is a Laughlin tournament, even though it's played out of Catherine Landing on Lake Mojave. It's 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but the weekend before is Kid Rock. They'll all be going to the concert and having fun and patronizing our town. So we want to make sure that they all feel welcome. Best in the Desert, there's nothing new about that. It's just a bunch of dirt racing. Those are the trophy trucks, the bigger ones. Snore is everything from motorcycles to the razors. Then you have Best the Desert again, which is all UTVs, and it's the championships that are held here. Laughlin Bullhead Air Show, April 1st. All of the things are going to be coming out in the next week for vendors, concessions, sponsorships, and how the kind of like a timeline of how things are going to happen. But we want to introduce you to everybody that is doing each one of the committee tasks. And we are reaching out to our veterans and to our veteran services in our areas. Right now, Fred's in charge of going to all of the veteran and still serving organizations to make sure that if they want a free spot on the airport during the carnival or festivities, that they get it first. We're catering towards the veterans in our area first above everything else. I think that's it. Ta-da! I'll take any questions if you have any.
Any questions from the board? Nope. Okay.
Staying
All
busy.
right. Thank you. And item number 11 is receive a report from Tanya Brown-Worth with the Laughlin Library regarding current and upcoming activities. I don't see her with us today. Is there something at the back from her? There is? Okay, so there is a schedule of events at the library at the back there. And receive a report from Laughlin School System regarding the status of programs and upcoming activities. I don't see Dawn with us today. So, and then also, we have announcements of upcoming neighborhood meetings and county or community meetings with events. Anything from, no? Okay. I'll just mention, it's the 19th that we have the water safety in Bullhead.
The Colorado River Task Force.
Okay, thank you. I was just going to ask about we had the low water flow. Was there anything that came out of that? I saw a few things on Facebook, but Jackie?
Yeah.
Just a report on how that went.
The low water flow project last month was very successful. He says it was between 62 and 88% decimation. So we took it so low, which is the law is 1,200, we took it to 1,300 CFS, and that took it a lot longer for the pupae and larva stages to move down the rock and towards water, and they couldn't get there in time. We also found some other pools that were exposed. We didn't have any signs of any dead fish or fingerlings that were in the river, but as far as we're concerned, it was probably the most successful event that we've had because the ambient temperature, the water temperature, and the rock temperatures were out of this world on that day. This last weekend, we had 3 units. We were advised on Thursday that the weekend would not give us any more than 3 units, and there's some reasons for that. Lake Havasu is too full. So we cannot release any water into Lake Havasu until some of that water is used up downstream. We will always have water to fill Lake Havasu, and we have to hold it back just a little bit. Thank God for the monsoons that we got water, but Havasu got nailed, and they just filled up so fast. So this last weekend was only 3 units, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're hoping we can move to 4 to 5 units every weekend, but it's all up to the depth of Lake Havasu at this point.
Okay.
And
okay.
downstream, of course, they got lots of water, so they didn't need any irrigation.
Right, exactly, because of the monsoons.
Yeah. But
Okay.
remember, we have another low flow this month.
When is it again,
On the
please?
16th? Is it
August
16th on a
16th?
Tuesday?
Okay.
I think it's a Tuesday, yeah. It's supposed to be a Tuesday. I think it's August 16th, but we'll have another low flow all day again.
Will it be 1,200 or 1,300?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
If
But
it's effective, so,
it's really effective,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
That's
know
what
how
matters.
many trout we'll have to stock this year if we continue to take care of it.
nice.
We might be able to save some money.
Yep, definitely. All right, thank you. Let's see, planning and zoning, moving forward, we have nothing before us. Item number 7, general business. Number 1 is review FY 2024 budget requests and make public input regarding suggestions for FY 2024 requests for possible action. I believe every one of us in our report has a priority checklist. And the way that they're asking this to be done is that 10 is your highest value. Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong. 10 is your highest value, so the thing that, for this board, that they feel is most important is the number 10, and then 9 would be the next, and 8, 7, 6, and down to 5, since we have 5 items. So you wouldn't be below 5. Am I correct in that? The best way to do it from a point standpoint is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You vote,
Yes.
okay. So we have the opportunity to add other
Yep.
items
We
to
had
this.
several that have been taken off the list because they've been accomplished, so that's why we're down to this. This is just what's left, but you're more than welcome to remove some of these. You're more than welcome to add a lot more. It's honestly up to you.
Okay, so there's discussion amongst the board.
Yeah.
Are there other things we want to add to this? Tammy, will you tabulate when we give our scores? Okay, because if not, just give me another sheet.
Well, this is just, a draft. You'll have the final at the next meeting.
Okay, and everyone, just for attention, because the county works off fiscal years, so this is 2024, so it's not going to be things that we're putting in, and the fiscal years run July 1 till June 30. So this is July 1 of 2024 to June 30th, so.
Yep.
Okay, all right, discussion amongst the board. Are there some other items from recollection that we want to add to this before we start compiling? Fred, you look like you have something. So, all right, just a question I have, and it may be amongst other members. Originally, on the other one, there was an upgrade to this system, to the audio, to the cameras, to all of that. That's not on this list. Can you explain
Yeah,
why?
I'm more than happy to. So, correct, that has been on the list for several years. That is currently in progress, so it is occurring now. So, in my opinion, ultimately, you guys, I don't think it's necessary to put on the list because it is being in progress.
Okay, that's what I was curious,
yeah.
because you said there's several items that aren't on it, and so that was my
Yep.
question.
And the reason they're not on it is because they're either in progress or they've been completed or they're going to be completed.
Okay.
We didn't just remove any just to remove them. They're all for a reason
Okay.
that they're being done.
So before, with what we do here today, if I could ask staff to give us the list that we had from before, so we can just kind of read that to the public, saying these are the ones that are in process.
Sure.
Do we have that from last year? I think we would in minutes. Yeah, and I know, and the ones that are in progress, so we can just let the public know, these are already in progress, that's why they're not on the list.
Do we get it right now?
No, we do that for the next meeting
Okay,
when we
okay.
get finalized, because you
Sure.
need time to do that, you can't do that right away, yeah.
Yeah. Of
Okay,
course.
that just makes sense, so then it can be a little more cohesive. So one thing I will mention that is on the list that I'm aware of, the crosswalk at Las Palmas and Needles Highway, within the last, I think, 2 weeks, we do have a traffic study in progress going on there right now. And I believe in addition, there's also one headed out on Needles Highway regarding the roundabout. So there's 2 traffic studies going on, at least I've driven over them.
Yes, that's correct. So that one is still on there because it's currently in the traffic study phase. So if you would like to put as like a crosswalk, traffic signal, stuff like that, that's why we left that one on because it's not in motion yet because they still have to do the traffic study, give us the results because they could ultimately say doesn't warrant a crosswalk, it does this, it does that. So that's why that one is still on there.
So then my question would be, should we also add the roundabout the great big roundabout that we're looking at Needles and Bruce Woodbury? Because if that's on there, I mean, and it's looking like there's a traffic study on that as well. So could we add both of those?
I would suggest not having that one because that's a public works project that's active right now. So I don't see it as being needed to dedicate funding to it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so that one's all handled by public works.
Okay,
So.
all right. I just wanted to understand about it, the process. Okay, so is there anything else from the board? Any other items that we can think of that we'd like to add for funding?
I have a question.
Please.
We had talked briefly about turning our bus stops into handicap accessible because we have a few in town that are not accessible for handicap. Is that something that would go on here?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I know SNTC is funded through county, through kind of RTC as well. So I don't see an issue with that. I can double check to make sure, but what do you think, Tammy? I think that's a valid one. That's a good one as well because it is a capital request. So,
Yeah, something we can just add to the list that we have.
Yeah. And a lot of these help too of like notifying the public, letting us know ideas of what we kind of want in the community. So I think no idea is a bad idea.
Okay. I like that to add to the list.
Oh, making our bus stops handicap accessible for those in wheelchairs and crutches rather than just curbs.
Yeah, okay. So I guess we can make a motion to add that to the list before us.
So moved.
So I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. So we've added handicap access to bus stops. So please.
We also want to do a public comment as well during this
You
as
vote.
well.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So if there's any public comment, these are the items that are on our list. We have the RGC meeting room, which is the Regional Government Center here before us, audience chair replacement. We have Rome Tech building air conditioning at Pyramid Park. We have a Trails host site. We have crosswalk at Las Palmas and Needles Highway. We have Spirit Mountain marquee sign. We have creation of a Laughlin cemetery. And now we've added the handicap access to the bus stops. So if there's anyone that would like to speak to these items, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and spell your last name. And welcome.
My name is Susan Smith. My
That's
address
Parkway.
is 2948 Cattail Cove Street, Laughlin.
And Smith, is it S-M-I-T-H?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The other day I was coming up Bruce Woodbury, 2 Needles Highway. Is there ever going to be a light or a caution or anything there? I know that was discussed before. Is that what's going to happen soon or what?
So Currently, Public Works is working on a design for a roundabout at that intersection. They've done studies and stuff to figure out the best way to do something with the intersection because we've heard a lot about it. That's what they've reported to me. So that's why that one's not on this list to do like traffic measures there because it's currently in process. I believe it's about 60% design. So once that is full and finished, then they go to bid it out and then do construction.
Roundabout, I don't understand. How they,
It's a traffic roundabout. Have you ever?
so you'd go in a circle?
You do,
Yeah.
and this one will be quite, so we have large portions of property that are owned by the county there. So this will be large, so like even semis can go through it and stuff. And it'll have 2 lanes that go around. So it will take, because the county owns the property, the easements around it. So it will, when you're coming up Bruce Woodbury, you will slow and then you will enter the traffic circle to exit onto Needles Highway, you know, traveling south or traveling north.
Okay.
And so
okay.
that's already in the
And that would-
process.
And that would slow the people that were coming from Needles Highway to,
Yeah, all the way, because they would also have to enter the traffic circle.
Right.
And coming, you know, coming northbound on Needles Highway, coming southbound on Needles Highway. I don't know if eventually Bruce Woodbury will continue up into the residential or not, but that may be the time
Yeah.
to consider that.
And
But there will be a roundabout for that instead of a traffic light.
praise the Lord, I almost had a fatal accident.
Yeah, yeah,
Good,
it's
good.
been dangerous for those of us that have lived here a long time.
Oh, yes, I appreciate that. How soon?
It's already in process,
Next week?
60% design.
I
Yeah,
wish, I wish,
well,
Yes.
it's a
so
little hard.
They are in design, so I want to say eventually we'll be able to announce like when they're going to go to construction, all that. So it's very good. And the county will also be doing education about roundabouts as well. They'll do a big education campaign, just let people know how to use them properly and all that. So and also it helps as well with Bruce Woodbury, as right now you have to stop. It'll keep everyone in motion. So
Right, right.
Yep.
Well, and you don't know whether those people are going down the hill or they're going straight. And
Yep.
that's the hardest thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Mind reading while driving.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Uh-huh.
And thank you for your comments.
All right. Is there anyone else? Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please spell your last name.
I think everybody knows who I am. My name is Fred Wells. I live here on Laughlin for about 23 years. Anyway, a little over 3 years ago, I had a petition at El Mirage for streets, right? And I had 127 signatures, and if you didn't sign it, the reason why, you weren't home. But everybody that knocked on their door signed my petition about getting streets. Anyway, 2.5 years ago, we had a guy come down here from Public Works, and he told me straight up, he said he was talking about having streets put in Laughlin. Well, that's, like I said, it's about 2.5 years ago. Anyway, I seen the truck came by about 2 years ago, and they measured the streets. And they said they were gonna do it in October, and that was 2 years ago? Maybe a year and a half ago, in October, I forgot when it was. Anyway, they were gonna put in streets for Laughlin. Well, we still haven't got any streets, and we got potholes about this big now, and they're that deep. And people are complaining to me, they said they're falling, they're tripping on these curbs and everything else, and these holes, these parkways. I just don't understand it. When are we gonna get our streets?
Okay, I'll let our liaison give you an update on that, and it just be you might have missed a couple of the meetings, but it is in progress. There has been a measuring that's been done and stuff, and he can give you more information on what it is that they're working on, because we did, you know, bring them down. They measured the streets. They put in a list of priorities, those which are the worst, and he'll give you the dates and stuff that they're looking at starting.
Yeah, I mean, the chair has mentioned everything with, so it's about a $14 million package that Public Works is doing. They're going to do it in phases. El Mirage is definitely on it. I have the map and all that. They're going to start with about $7 million right away. That'll be going to bid this month, hopefully. I will double check with Public Works. So what that means is it'll go to bid, they'll get bidded contractors, and then I would say by the end of the year, if not early next year, they'll start construction. What they're doing, what's unique with this project is instead of just filling potholes or doing crack ceilings, they're doing the complete road repair.
Well,
So,
that's what I requested, repairing, complete roads. I don't
Yep.
want repairs, I don't want to see a little
Yep. So-
surface thing on there, that doesn't going to do any good at all.
Yep, and they took that into consideration, so it'll be complete road replacement. So Public Works is keeping me in the loop on what's going on. I know they're in the process right now of just starting the bidding process, which that's a whole other department and everything, but we'll keep everyone updated of what's going on. So it's good
Because
news.
I did go to that website they had, and I was down to, I think it was page 29. It was like looking through a kaleidoscope of all the stuff that was going to be done in Laughlin, but nothing was happening at all. And I'd just like to see it happen.
Yep, and no, this is definitely happening.
Yeah,
so.
and I do think the pandemic did set a lot of projects back, you know, and you know, for government business, I think there was like a year and a half that things just didn't happen, you know, and that's common in a lot of government agencies. One thing I was just thinking that might help this gentleman too, Mr. Wells, is the next meeting that the commissioner has when he comes down, if we maybe get that list from Public Works and
Sure.
it can be released to the press because it's something that, you know, he's bringing to the community.
Yeah.
It can be released to the press, so at least the residents in the communities, in the local newspaper, will see, oh, okay, here's what we're doing. Here's the list of the streets and stuff that are going to be happening. Not necessarily a time frame, but just letting them know.
Yeah, and I think that'll happen closer when Public Works takes it to purchasing to go out to bid, because it'll include that in the bid package. So that'll be all public record and everything.
Right.
And we can help to kind of pull it out and get that list and everybody.
Yeah, to the residents and get it
Yeah.
in the local press release so that,
Sure.
that people know. And
Yeah.
that way, you know, when you pick up the local newspaper, it should be in there.
So
Sure.
in other words, the bid's going to go out at the end of the year?
No, it's
No.
this month.
So this month, they should be bidding the whole package, and then after that, it takes a whole process that they have to get bids that come in. It's a whole purchasing process, and then they have got to review all the bids and all that, and then they're able to select a contractor and then start that whole process of doing the project. So timelines are really hard to give definitive answers, but I would say this month it'll be bid as a project. So that means that it's definitely going through.
Because I could see another problem coming up here where they're building that bridge. You got all them trucks going over there on Needles Highway. They're going to end up replacing that too next. All them trucks. the
Well,
ones
we
back
built
and
that
forth.
about 12 years ago, and we did a really, it's pretty
Yeah.
tough. We built that to some really strong standards because we didn't want to, and that was a project that took over 8 years to you know, get that to fruition.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's going to take another 8 years probably to finish it too, to get through the roads and stuff. Anyway, I appreciate your help, and I hope we get some streets in there soon before I get too much older.
No problem. We appreciate your input. It's helped.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ms. Wells.
All right.
Yeah,
Any,
I have a comment.
Please.
Just for the record, you're not the only one that's made suggestions on the roads. There's been other people too.
I hope there is.
There
A lot
is.
of people are complaining to me because I'm the one that started this thing about the petition that I had. That's been for 3 years.
it's your baby now, right? Okay.
What's next?
All right. Any more public comment on any of the items that we have before us? Jackie?
Hello. I would like to make suggestions for the digital sign that I have not been able to obtain or acquire. I wanted a community digital sign for the communities so that when they drive to and from the casinos or the market or any place, the digital sign will come up and tell you what's going on, especially if they don't get a newspaper or if they don't use social media. When they're going out to do their regular errands, they need something that tells them National Night Out is this weekend, or you have a concert this weekend, or this Needles Highway will be closed this week for Best in the Desert. Digital signs are not that expensive, and you can put tons and tons and tons of messages in there just flipping so that people can see them. That was one of my suggestions. I don't know if you've thought about
So
that.
a community marquee on land owned by the county.
Yes, I have a few samples of the sizes that you can do that you can read from your car. They don't have to be big like the marquees. They just have to be big enough where you can read the message.
Okay. And it would be positioned probably on the strip on county property? Is
Oh.
that
I don't know, because I would call it a community one.
correct? Community
Yeah.
marquee, because it would be funded obviously from Clark County.
Yes,
So it would be
so-
those events that pertain to the
Yeah,
county?
it'd be really good up on Bruce Woodbury and Needles Highway. because everybody uses that road. And the school buses and everything that go by there. There's a lot to see. Parents picking up their children from school. There's a lot to get on one of those digital billboards. I think it's something that we might consider. The next one is we've been asked a lot over the last probably a year since we took over the visitor center to check out bikes to use our Heritage Park trails. That's a Clark County park, and people don't normally travel with their bicycles, but they want to use the trails and don't necessarily want to walk the whole thing, but they want to see the whole thing. In connection with that, we have talked over and over again, and I've talked to Toby Cotter about it, and I don't know if you guys have too, is to put a pedestrian walk on the north side of Laughlin Bridge. We have one on the south side right now, so if you wanted to complete the whole Heritage Park trails, there's no traffic to be concerned about on that whole trail until you get to the bridge crosswalk on the other side. You have to cross traffic going in different directions and come across the bridge on the south side. So I don't know how anybody else is interested in this, but it's been a great destination site for those who bicycle and those who do trails. And I hate to see it stop and start without having any safe way to make the whole circle. And I think right now it's 7 miles in total. So it's a great heritage trail that we're soon to have the ribbon cutting on the Arizona side, but it connects us, and it's a beautiful ride. You can't beat it for a trail. The other thing was we talked about a motorsports park in the past. It was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. We actually gave you guys a sample of what we were looking for. We did not have a concert hall here before either, and then the LEC came. It's a permanent temporary. That equipment and those buildings and everything can be moved off in a day because nothing's really connected to the ground. They're all portable. So if we could have another venue where we could have all the BMX, motorcycles, UTVs, and have a hot motorsports park. For those who go out of that, they can go out on the trail and then come back around and still be able to be photographed, have a loudspeaker, have the regular experience that you have when you go to races. I go to races all the time because that's my deal, but refreshments and drinks and places to get souvenirs, and also sit in the bandstand and hear, have good Wi-Fi, because right now our sports that are going out into the Laughlin event park over on the other side, they can't get any Wi-Fi. So when they're trying to stream the results of every category that goes through there, they can't get it out. So people have to wait for hours and hours and hours to see where they're positioned and when their next race is. So there's no communication, no Wi-Fi communication there. So if nothing else, if we could put a Wi-Fi tower in the middle of Events Park, that would be great. Anybody that can participate in the highest point to get it from Harris or the Tropicana or Riverside, I think have towers. Wi-Fi or microwave towers. We need to be able to connect our people who are bringing all these people to visit, a way to actually do their job and stream the event.
So my question is, just so that I can
Okay.
clarify this for our list. So we have digital sign, community marquee, and then I believe Mark might be able to shed some light, a contract for bicycle vending. I believe Clark County has contracts throughout the Las Vegas area for bicycle vendors.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can look into. We can also check with Silver Rider, Southern Nevada Transit Coalition. I believe they might have dollars that they can do stuff like that. I know that's an idea.
Yeah, it's a
That's-
transit coalition type.
Yeah, because that's more of like complete streets, stuff like that, that really uses sidewalks and all that, and we could,
And I've seen where they build the bike racks in near the bus stops too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only issue a lot of times here is that it needs to be a shaded structure to have bikes. So
Right.
I know reaching out to possibly the casinos to see if they could use like the Porta Share to have a bike under there, because if you put a bike out here in the direct sunlight, it's done in 3 months. I mean, that chain's going to be dry, that seat's going to be, it's going to burn someone when they sit on it. So that's always the hardest thing, is getting those other dollars and stuff. But if we could use our partners in the casinos to be able to have a safe location, I think it could be a great program. in
Or
my
your
opinion.
partners at Chamber with the visitor center.
Sure.
You put a little cover in the back and then put them there. We could always issue them and problem solve for the person who's renting.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
It's just such a good space.
Yeah,
And where
and-
we're sitting is the best
Yeah.
space ever, because people stop in there all the time.
And I like
And it's,
the-
and you lease the property from the county, so
Sure.
Yeah.
a community marquee might be functional there too.
Yep. And I like the side of the casinos because they're right on the river, so it's safe. You don't have to cross streets, and you can continue right on there. And you
Except
stay.
you know that they'll drive them down the river walk, and that's probably not a good idea.
True. I mean, there's several issues. I mean, we could discuss it all day, but
Then we'll form a task
Yeah.
force for bike riding. So,
Yeah.
the other thing, just so I'm clarifying what you have, is pedestrian walk on the north side
Yes,
of the
for Heritage
bridge.
Park Trails.
Okay, and then Wi-Fi tower in the
Event park,
event park, and then,
motorsports park.
and motorsports
Change
park.
that into a real motorsports park, so we don't have all the fees that we have right now from Clark County for every single event. We have to pay all the fees over and over again. If you can have one of those cover events or an annual event permit
Right.
for each of the promoters, they wouldn't have to go through so much.
Through all of the hoops.
I-
Mark?
the one with the connection of the sidewalk, if it's on that bridge, that would be a state. It would be NDOT and ADOT
Oh.
because those are, unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction on that bridge to move sidewalks.
No, we don't, but the commissioner's got influence on it, so he could.
Sure,
yeah.
sure, but we can't.
We can't just do it.
It won't be like a capital request. That might be something as like just
Ah,
a.
I see. So it's
yeah,
a different, so it's a different medium than what we have right here.
Right, it wouldn't be a capital request because of, I can't tell them what to do with that bridge.
Right,
I-
but
I
the
can
other
tell them,
things that
but I
we've
can't.
talked about, the community marquee, the
Sure,
contract
those
with
ones, yeah.
bicycling,
Yeah.
the, converting the event center to motorsports park and adding Wi-Fi and microwave towers to
Sure.
the current park.
It would help with ADOT and NDOT if we had a letter of recommendation from LTAB or BCC on making that happen, that they're all willing to make it happen. I know that Hildy Angus on the other side, who's supervisor for Bullhead City, is all over it.
Okay.
And so is Toby Cotter.
Yeah, that's something we
So-
could agendize, a letter in support of it to take forward to the commissioner for
And my last-
ADOT, NDOT.
My last request would be to work on Casino Drive. We have a lot of bad asphalt, and some of the medians need some help. So if we could just get more help in those medians to make sure that everything stays alive and that we don't have such bad
I believe
asphalt.
we have an SID, a special improvement district along Casino Drive assessed by linear feet from the property owners, am I correct?
Currently in Casino Drive, yes, or the proposed one you're talking
Is that
about?
the south end?
Are you talking about with the casinos that maintain the?
No, she's talking about the center median, but I mean, we do have an SID with funding. Might it be something that from, not necessarily from a capital expenditure request, but from a contact into Public Works saying, hey, this is getting, not getting water, things are dying
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's like a request to come to our office. That doesn't need to
Okay.
wait for a capital
Okay, yeah,
request.
yeah,
That's-
okay, so if
yeah,
we can just
We'd
get
rather you
that.
not wait till 2024 to tell
Correct,
us.
yeah, until, yeah, we don't want, we'd all be dead then.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Okay, all
So
right.
that's a daily thing we can contact our office and we can talk to Public Works.
And
Thank
if
you.
they have, specific locations too, that would help instead of just an overall, because then you're expecting someone else's viewpoint of whether this looks good or doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. All right, we have discussion amongst the board on those items. Would you, do we want to entertain a motion to add those items as I delineated?
So moved.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. The motion carries. So we will add those items to this. So you're not necessarily needing us to vote today, or do you want us to? And then finalize? Okay, so this is, all right, so then, you want me to re-encapsulate all of it so that you have it, or do you have it in your notes? Okay, I'll just read it. So for our FY 2023-24 capital budget requests, we have, and these are not in order of priority at this point, the RGC meeting room audience chair replacement, the Rome Tech building air conditioning at Pyramid Park, Trails host site, the crosswalk at Las Palmas and Needles Highway, Spirit Mountain Marquee sign, and creation of a Laughlin cemetery, handicap access at our bus stops, a digital community sign marquee, a contract for bicycle rentals, creating a real motorsports park at our current event center park, and adding Wi-Fi and microwave towers to our sports park event center. The pedestrian bridge, we said, would be an NDOT, but something that we could do a letter of endorsement, and Casino Drive will be Public Works. So those other items are our list. Okay. Board have anything to add to that?
So we're not doing pedestrian,
All right.
Okay.
Staff?
I was just getting clarification from, we're not putting on the pedestrian bridge and we're not putting on. the,
Correct, because those are an ADOT issue and a Public Works conversation.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll
Cool.
pull those off. Okay, so that will be our list going forward, and I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That'll be our list going forward.
I do have one question.
Sure.
The lights on Casino Drive, did you talk to Public Works about those, the timing, or maybe making?
Oh,
Yes.
Caution lights instead of red lights?
yeah, I forgot.
Are low off time hours?
Yes, you're talking about like the cycle of all that.
Yeah, the difference
Yes.
between pressure pads and timers.
Yes, yes, so Public Works is looking into what they're doing. They can kind of like make sure all the computers are running correctly to
Right.
do it all. So
Okay.
I will follow up with them. They told me they were gonna go out there and check them all, because I know I followed up with the intersection and then I gave them that information as well. Yep.
Okay. All right, any more questions? Okay. And so we'll move forward to the comments by general public. Is a period devoted to the comments by the general public about matters relevant to the board's jurisdiction. No vote may be taken on a matter not listed on today's posted agenda. So these will be items from the community that are not on today's agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to the speaker's podium, state your name and address, and spell your last name for the record. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of a presentation, this will be done by the chair or the board by majority vote. Do we have anyone that cares to speak on any issue pertaining to this board's jurisdiction but not on today's agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I'll move forward to item number 9, which is our next meeting date, which is September 13th of 2022 here in this room. And then I'll go ahead and call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion, second and third. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We are dismissed. Thank you for your afternoon.